Hey there. Sorry, just got carried away messing around with some of the cool songs that that crossed mine and a lot of people's paths this week. It is February 9th, Friday. We are basking. I hate to tell you this, but man, we are just enjoying summer weather here. Not a good thing. It looks like we're heading into another drought here in California, and well, anyhow, but it has made February pretty nice so far. What is going on? I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about today. Actually, I want to try to mess around with instrumental versions of some of the songs that appeared this week. Let me try another one. Anyway, thanks to Vanessa. Boy, I almost did that song last week too. We saw, of course, the post on the forum of is it Mike? I hope I didn't screw up. I probably did. Playing it was really cool. Kind of inspired everybody. Got me going back and listening to Three Dog Night too. And I started, as I looked through their songs, I thought, oh, let's start with this one, which of course is done really here. And it was really fun, kind of putting together a little strumming version. Oh, I didn't get around to what I want to talk about today, by the way. So here's my table of contents. I want to talk about some of the IGC videos. I want to talk about Guitar Pro and Song Surgeon, hopefully. And motivation. Michelle, once again, thanks for bringing up a great question. And then I want to talk about progressive rock and trying to play stuff on guitar. Maybe I'm going to do that now. Got a real kick out of watching Jan Ackerman this week. What happens? Yeah, been playing a lot of Focus around the house lately. It's just too fun. Some of it's really hard to listen to, but Jan Ackerman is just one of the greatest guitar players of all time, in my opinion. Partly because he does so much different stuff. He did these, pulls off these incredibly ridiculous shredding licks, and then also comes out and plays on the lute. It even got me. It's not tuned yet. But this morning I even broke out the lute. I thought, you know what? I watched him play it with nails. I'm going to try it again. Haven't played the lute in, well, since probably the last time I played it here on the TG News, which probably broke it out in the last 5 or 6 years. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to get to the motivation thing because that I've been sort of in ruts too for a little while. I kind of even going back to knee surgery, but because it was getting a little uncomfortable to play and stuff. But Sylvia kicked me out of it. I'll get to that story later. First, let's talk about the songs that happened this week. We had our 2 Three Dog Night songs. Never Been to Spain, of course, a Hoyt Axton song, and one a Harry Nilsson song. And if you listen to Harry's version of it, it's hard to believe what the arrangers for Three Dog Night did with it. And they were really good at this. They were hit makers. They were like Richard Neville. No, that was the Kingmaker. Well, wait a minute. Never mind. What else? Oh, James Taylor, that tune. The comment. I never warmed up to that album either, but I'm going to give it another try. Flag. No. Yeah, that was it, from 1979. And that's why I wasn't familiar with the song, because I think I heard that album right when it came out, and it's like, maybe I was just moving on, out, not into James Taylor-y stuff anymore. Walking Man was kind of the last one of his that I bought. Yeah, that came out after One Man Dog. And each one felt to me like it was getting... I was just getting a little further away from it. But I'm going to give Flag another try. I do really like the song Millworker that came one of my students asked about it a few months ago, and I started working out, and I tabbed out like the intro for him, and I kind of filed it away that it's like, oh, that would be a good lesson to have here at TG. Some unusual stuff, the pedal point in the bass, and or just hitting bass notes, droning bass notes as opposed to alternating bass notes. So what else? Got to thank Max for breaking out After Midnight. Of course, we have I a while ago did J.J. Cale's version of it, but that doesn't really quite a totally different approach to Clapton. So I want to thank him for that. And then we have some of Sandy's latest tricks. Such a cool tune, Diamonds and Rust. So I'm glad she got to work on that. I think we have a little follow-up to that coming up probably in a few weeks in our Fly on the Wall series. So I think that was it for the new releases. The IGC, I want to talk about the Beagles a little bit. The Beagles, yes, our biggest IGC group. 6 members right now. When they started, I think, at the second camp in about 2014, I think, was when they sort of got together. And right then, everybody in the band had a B in their name. Now we got an M and a G in there too. But those guys at camp, I got to tell you how much they worked. Jim Bruno really has to be credited with pulling the best out of those guys. Having them work on the harmony, Rob playing the guitar part. So anyway, that was a real treat to hear something that. They put a lot of hours into that during camp. So, and there are a lot more of those. More coming up. Next week I'll start dripping out a few more of some of the things as they all get as it occurs to me. So yeah, but those, anyway, congratulations to those guys for doing a great job. I think they're all coming back to camp. We have room for more campers if anybody wants to join us. So if you're thinking about Asilomar or Amsterdam, don't hesitate, because we're trying to make plans and get everything to work. Oh, I did that one last week. Don't play John Renborn today, Neil. Let's see, what else? So a question came up through the support network and things like that about Guitar Pro, and it's been a long time since I've talked about Guitar Pro and some of the things that I like to use, or that I use. I use Guitar Pro every day, and I use it for students if I'm writing something out, and for almost every lesson I do, I need to write out tablature. And the great thing about Guitar Pro is you can play it back if you have the program. Now, of course, we make PDFs of everything that I would do in Guitar Pro, but the PDFs, you can just look at them, and then of course in the lesson you can hear me play most of them. It kind of depends on the song. But in Guitar Pro, if you get the program, I should have looked it up. I don't know how much it is. It could be $50 or $60 or something like that. But if you have the program, you could download the GPX files that I create and Vanessa does and Max does sometimes, I think. And if you open it in Guitar Pro, you can play it and you can speed it up or slow it down. You can change the key. And you can, and you can follow along. You can watch the notes as you're listening to it. So it really has a lot of educational stuff in it too, and it really, and you could loop through the same 3 measures a bunch of times. You could have it just play these 3 measures over and over and over. Now, another program I use a lot is, well, not as much as Guitar Pro. I use Guitar Pro every day. Song Surgeon is another one that is really handy for changing the speed or the pitch of something. And I'll get to an example. The last thing I'll probably play today is an example of where Song Surgeon came in really handy for me, because I could listen to something. This is especially good if you're going to play a song that you want to learn an Eagles song or something, but you can't sing it in their key. Well, you could take their recording of it and transpose it into your key and sing along with them to get the melody down. So, anyway, Song Surgeon is another great tool for learning and music. Anyway, sort of related to that was the question that Michelle brought up with motivation and like how do you stay motivated? And I think there are a couple things. One of them is tackle something new. Try to get excited by something that you either haven't done before or haven't mastered before. You know, a lot of times I'll have students work on the same song years apart, and it's because now that they've progressed through some other things, they may have only gotten it to a certain level the first, second, third, or fourth time. And now, a year or two later, they have a better set of tools and they could do more with it. So then we come back and look at the song again and they get something more out of it. So it almost becomes a new song. I mean, it's numerous. The amount of times I've mentioned to a student, I said, hey, have we done this? And they say, oh yeah, we did that years ago. And I said, oh, can you still do it? So I don't remember it at all. Okay, well, let's review it first, and then maybe the next week they'd come back doing. But it could have been very stiff. Like maybe the last time I left them with that and it went like this. Well, now they've progressed a little bit more, and I say, you know, we have to loosen that up a little bit. I don't want you so anchored here. I don't want you to be so accurate on the notes. I want to hear more music and less notes, or less non-musical notes. And if you miss a note or two, it'll still be musical. That was still better than this. Even with all the wrong notes. So anyway, my point there is tackling something new can really help you get back on board. Do you hear that, Lynn? But I think you're back on board anyway, or starting to look at things. So sort of along those lines, for the last week or so, boy, I wonder what started this. Oh, I know what it was. I came across a new Focus album called 8.5 Focus and Friends or something like that. And I thought, oh, I got to check these guys out. I've always been a Focus fan. Now, the main character in Focus is Thijs van Leer. Thijs, I'm not sure how his name is pronounced. I should ask my Dutch friends. Karina. Vanessa. Anyway. Unusual name for English, for American English speakers. But he was the keyboard player, flute player, wrote most of the songs, and did, of course, the yodeling in Hocus Pocus, and had kind of opera or choir-like vocals in many of the pieces. And then Jan Ackerman was sort of behind the scene. I mean, he was quiet, but not when he played the guitar. And so he hasn't been with the band, and he and Van Leer don't get along, I don't think, very well anymore. Or probably even didn't back at the time. I think it was too many cooks in the kitchen. But and he's gone off and had a great career in the jazz and fusion world. And so anyway, hearing this relatively new Focus album, at least new to me, made me go back and listen to some of the other stuff again, and then started digging up videos of, looking at old videos of them playing from the early 70s. They were together till about 75 or 76 when Jan left, I think. Maybe, yeah. Oh, because they did that album, Focus con Proby with Philip Catherine. Hamburger Concerto, I think, was really the last album that had Jan on it. Anyway, going through these videos. Oh, now I have to back up one more even thing. Many, many years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, I started working on this tune of theirs, that the other one I put up in the listening post, Sylvia, and it was really difficult. It was in a horrible key for guitar, and it keeps changing keys. And I kind of got it pretty far, and I just remember thinking, this is not worth pursuing anymore. And unfortunately, I didn't play it for a long time and totally forgot it. And I couldn't piece it back together. I'd go back and listen to it. That's how that little opening thing works in the original key, which is F. So as I'm stumbling through Focus and Jan Ackerman videos, I see this thing that says Jan Ackerman playing, first of all, playing Hocus Pocus. And if you've looked at that video, it's hilarious, the commentary that came with it, because he just shreds it all over the place, and it's anyway. But he also was playing Sylvia, and I remember watching his version, this thing, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like he put it in a better key for the guitar. Duh! Put it in D. Don't try to play the dang thing in F. And so now his guitar was tuned down a half step, but it's like that. The light came on. Just watching him play it. The other thing that was really interesting watching him play that was, it looked to me like he was just figuring it out as he went. Like, this was not rehearsed. He knew the song well enough. He was trying to piece it together. Didn't come up with efficient fingering. Sometimes he's just scrambling to find chords. And anyway, that got me back. That got me motivated to get back to working on Sylvia. I'm going to play it for you here in just a second. I do have it's still under construction. I've been at this for a few days, since about the weekend, I guess. But still haven't figured out the best fingerings for a lot of spots. So there's places that are sticky because sometimes you have to change chords at a weird time. But inspired by Jan Ackerman, and I think this is going to be the end of my. I think I'm going to check out here for today, because we're running into over 20 minutes. Okay, here's where Sylvia is so far, and I will be back next week. Modulations here. Anyhow, that has gotten me motivated to get better as a guitar player and be able to play through that without some of those things that didn't quite go the way I'd planned, or this. That's what it's supposed to sound like. It never sounded like that in that version. Okay, I'm going back to practicing. You should do the same. Hopefully get fired up about playing something that inspires and excites you, and maybe I'll get to a lesson on Sylvia someday when my hand heals.